Presiding Officer. The Labour amendment before us today says the census demonstrates that Scotland's population is ageing faster than that of the UK. Well, numbers are a kind of funny thing. If you look at Table 4 in the Registrar General's report, we find that in 2012 we have 59 people in dependency per 100. In 2017, it drops to 58. In 2022, it drops to 57. But I think Rod Campbell was quite right when he pointed to some of the difficulties there are in the way we calculate it, because I can tell you, the way it's calculated, I'm in dependency, and so is my good friend Gil Patterson, because it's simply done by age. It's not done by whether we're still working or whether we're still in employment. Now, of course, that is equally true for the rest of the UK, so I'm not trying to say Scotland is particularly different, but it does say we need to be very careful about the numbers. We've heard two people, by the way, in this debate claim there have been 23 censuses in Scotland. I think the number is 21, because there have been 22 10s since 1801, and there wasn't one in 1941. So I think it's 21, unless you care to count the Dal Riata census of approximately 670 AD, which was conducted in part of Scotland by the Irish. In England, of course, the first census was the Domesday Book in 1086. But I think in modern times, it's probably 21. And when it comes to cars, I just felt so uncomfortable with what Patricia Ferguson said. I popped out to get the up-to-date numbers. And I can tell the Chamber that, for example, in London, the numbers are substantially lower per household than they are in Glasgow. And, of course, the reasons why that is are not economic. They're because they've got a first-class public transport system, and you probably wouldn't want to own a car if you lived in London, and I suspect I wouldn't either. In fact, Beijing has a number higher than any city in Scotland, and a number higher than in London. So we need to be very, very careful with numbers indeed. The interesting thing from my point of view, of course, when I look at the numbers in Table 6 in the Registrar's General's report, I'm part of a cohort of 137,000 people. In 10 years' time, should I be spared, part of a cohort of 104, and a further 5 years later, a cohort of 82. But as part of my preparation for this debate, I thought I'd go on to the Scotland's People website, and I ended up very puzzled indeed, because I found that in 2012, according to the Scotland's People website, there were 133,322 registrations. And that was so far adrift from the numbers in the report, I thought I had to find out why that was the case. And I found, to my immense bafflement, that I haven't quite worked out why this should be the case, that a number of births appear multiple times in the registrations. I even found someone, because they're living, I'll not make specific reference, but in the City of Edinburgh, who actually has been registered 3 times with 3 different names. And there's quite a lot of examples of that. So I'm in the position where we need to be very careful. And I know that in censuses, one of my wife's relatives appears twice in the census because they were away and they were measured there and they were somewhere else. In my constituency, I know of at least 19 languages in the local school in Peterhead. I certainly have my nephews and nieces are in 8 countries around the world. Migration is an essential part of the modern world. Censuses help measure what's going on. Presiding Officer.